Let's talk about porn. I just had a conversation with a friend, Felicia, who criticized me for being anti-porn and called me a prude. Let's get one thing straight. Being anti-porn has nothing to do with being a prude. In fact, you can be anti-porn and sex positive at the same time. Being anti-porn just means rejecting an industry that promotes violence and perpetuates harmful attitudes towards women. Most people think porn is only a fantasy and that it doesn't affect anyone's real life. The reality is that porn has very real-life consequences for both men and women. A Michigan State police study revealed that porn was viewed just before or during 50% of sex crimes committed over 20 years. That really dispels the popular belief that porn prevents violence by acting as a healthy outlet for sexually aggressive behavior. Instead, porn leads to a direct increase in violence against women. For example, in the 1970s, legislation was passed in Hawaii that placed restrictions on the sale of porn. Instances of rape immediately dropped. After the restrictions were lifted, instances of rape immediately increased. And that's not just the result of extreme violent fetish porn. Even porn that isn't categorized as violent or fetish still eroticizes the infliction of pain on women. Here's another crazy example of how viewing porn can affect your life. A study asked fraternity college men who had recently viewed mainstream porn whether they would commit rape if they were assured they wouldn't get caught. 83% of them said that they would. Also, violent porn isn't as uncommon as you might think. Cosmopolitan magazine recently published an article called The 17 Best Porn Sites for Women. Their list includes the extreme BDSM website called Kink, which routinely features violent acts such as defecating on women, whipping, and orchestrated gang rape. That's not sexy. That's just wrong. In the overwhelming majority of porn scenes that show this kind of horrible violence, women either act as if they're enjoying it or they don't react at all. This reinforces the notion that sexual abuse is not only acceptable, but it's also enjoyable for women. Since regular porn viewers are becoming desensitized to the stimulation of mainstream porn, harsher, more violent, and degrading images are becoming increasingly normalized. Lisa Ann, a retired porn performer, has warned that the heightened demand for abuse porn is damaging amateur performers. Even if this doesn't concern you, here's something that will. Did you know that viewing porn has a direct impact on your sex life? Yep. Viewing porn makes people less attracted to their partners and negatively impacts sexual performance. Many young men under the age of 40 are now reporting that they are unable to be sexually aroused without the presence of porn. This is called porn-induced erectile dysfunction. It also leads to a decreased interest in your partner's pleasure. Nobody wants that. Ultimately, the hardest part to tackle in this debate is the gray area of choice. Certainly, women should be able to do what they want with their own bodies, but think about it like this. As the demand for violent pornography skyrockets, the industry has to race to meet that demand. And what's the best way to ensure a constant flow of women and girls into the porn industry? Sex trafficking. Experts say pornography is just filmed prostitution. Pimps and traffickers use their victims in these movies. That doesn't sound like much of a choice, does it? When porn performers face pressure from a multi-billion-dollar industry making increasingly extreme demands of them, the issue of choice becomes complicated. Go against the grain and don't be afraid to say you're anti-porn. Being anti-porn is sexy. Real sex is sexy. Join the movement.